Okay, so today we have quite a controversial topic. So let's jump into it. I will explain at the end why burning Bitcoin is interesting at some point, and what I will mostly focus is on economics, because I'm an economist. So let's for the quick presentation. I've been doing a PhD in France, and I was working on smart contracts and the economics behind smart contracts. And I want today to try to convince you, I will praise for my own chapel, and try to convince you that economics is quite important for a good design in blockchain protocols, especially when you talk about payments and cryptocurrencies. So let's go for it. So before that, we need to take a huge detour, because one of the main questions when we talk about crypto is like, hey, what's his money? So you probably heard about this very basic definition of money that comes basically from Aristotle, so a long time ago. And it says that, yeah, it's a store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. Okay, that's fine, but this is quite a descriptive definition. And it doesn't tell you why money is actually, some type of currency is actually used more than others, and why some type of currencies are performing better. So for that, you need to understand, and this is very important when you design a decentralized protocol that is aimed for payments, that basically money has a transactional purpose, meaning that it has a utility in a very economic sense. It helps you make good consumer choices. For instance, if you want to buy a bike and or a car, you can make this decision because it has value in some type of currency. And you can arbitrage between those two goods because of their value. So that's why currency is paramount in the way we are doing exchanges. So that being said, you need to understand that as in the Satoshi paper, Bitcoin was described as electronic cash, right? But now you need to distinguish a payment system, like electronic cash, like Bitcoin, and money itself. Because, yes, through a payment system, you can do global transactions. With Bitcoin, you can have them even decentralized, and you can even avoid those annoying exchange rate between currencies, which might impact your purchasing power when you transact across borders. And those payment systems, the global payment system, are really needed to improve upon your transactions. But this is not the end of the story, because the second part is Bitcoin having a native coin on the protocol is also a currency, somehow. So the two are very interlinked, and then when you analyze this in an economic way, you understand the intricacies and how complicated it gets when you mix between currency and a transactional system. Because when you pay with your Visa card, there's just a currency that is backed to it, but there's no exact, but it's just a transactional tool. So now, when you have a decentralized network with a native coin, you need to understand that you have both a transactional system and somehow a currency. So now we need to go to what would be the ideal currency in a decentralized system. And I think, to me, John Nash has a very good account on that. Why? Because he worked on his ideal money for about 50 years, and he was saying that basically good money should be issued at the rate of the productivity gains. And how do you account for the productivity gains is through industrial prices. So for instance, when the industry is getting more and more efficient, then you need to increase the issuance of money so that you basically have something that is more or less stable. Because stability is key as well, as we will see later. But now we need to ponder why decentralized systems have been struggling with two curses, in my opinion. The first one is, well, scalability. And those two curses have prevent those networks to actually being mostly mass adopted for payments. So mostly scalability is seen as a very purely technical issue. But the problem is that most of the projects have chosen to go to POS, and because it seems quite more efficient to increase your scalability through this type of consensus mechanism. However, this has very big economic implication, which can see now, because POS is, when you stake, you become kind of a shareholder of the system. You have vested interest to keep and maintain the security, but also the value of the system. And when you own an asset as a shareholder, what do you want? Basically is that asset to grow in value. So that means that ultimately in a POS system, you scale, sure, but you might also have the same issues with volatility and deflation. Of course, it's also related how you set up your reward function at the block level, but I will tackle that in a bit. And now you can also compare the proof of work. And it's more entrepreneurial based. And miners have basically one incentive, to make profit. And as long as they make profit, they can maintain the system and maintain the security of the system. So it's a profit-oriented, commodity-based, cost-based decision. And in economics, we say that it's basically an opportunity. There you have an opportunity cost of mining. What is an opportunity cost? Is the cost, what cost you to, for instance, mine Bitcoin with your rigs or mine Bitcoin Cash. Because if you mine Bitcoin, that means you forgo the reward on Bitcoin Cash. And that actually is foregoing the reward on Bitcoin Cash is your opportunity cost. And this is very important concept in economics for you to make decision in a scarce, in a world that is where you have basically scarcity. What also you have to take into consideration in a good design for decentralized network, and I'm mostly talking about payment. I'm not talking about dApps and DeFi and all that. Just keep that in mind. This is important. They have different incentives. So inflation is bad because it's a tax on the poor. When you have $100 and the next year you have 10% inflation, then you got cut by 90 and you can't afford your goods just with 90 USD instead. So you lose on your purchasing power. And the poorest population, it's been shown that they have the highest rate of consumption because they need to sustain with their daily life, unfortunately. And that way, having inflation is taxing the poor. Having deflation is not so much better because you increase the incentive for hoarding coins. And this can have like bad effects on economic growth. So now we can jump to the next curse, in my opinion, which is the stability. Because as we just seen, we need not deflation, not inflation, but something in the middle and something that is stable. But what is stability then? Because most of the coins today, most of the stable coins, the most well-known one, are pegged to the USD. But there's something wrong with that. Because when you say want to use these stable coins in Ukraine, you don't really care about the exchange rate. At least at first sight, you don't really care about the exchange rate between USD and hryvnias, because at your local shop, you're going to pay in hryvnias anyway. So what you need in stability is stability of purchasing power, not stability versus another currency. And this is the main thing that I think at the economic level, all stable coins that are designed to be pegged to the USD is wrong in a way, because it's not pegged to the local economy and how the local economy is performing. I guess you don't see the second sentence. I'm sorry about that. So you have another set of stable coins which are said algorithmic. But then you also have, you also get into troubles because you need to adjust so many parameters, and you need to kind of like anticipate what is going to be the demand for those coins, and the demands will have an incentive on your supply, and basically it will bring about quite some trouble if your parameters are wrongly set. So, is it like, how much time do I have? 7 minutes. Okay. I've been quite fast then. So, can we achieve basically scalability and stability in a decentralized system? Is it even possible? And if it's possible, how can we do it? We have taken this like huge detour into what is money, why inflation or deflation is kind of bad for consumers, and now I would like to present briefly our solution, and I hope we can have a debate on that. So what's our protocol is doing is a proof of work network, because we need to have a transactional coin, that is cost based, and you will see why. This network is sharded, so that we can ensure scalable throughput with time. And I would advise you to follow our CTO's talk. Taras is going to speak at 12:30 here about the technical aspects. We use merge mining to ensure the security on the shards. And we have two coins. One is a more asset-based coin, which is JAXNet. And this coin is more speculative because it has a reward, coin-based reward that is similar to Bitcoin. And we have JAX coins, which are printed based on their cost, because the reward function is very unique here. The reward function is proportional to the hash rate. So that means that your printing follows your marginal cost, and marginal cost is your electricity, which is quite constant over time. So the value of the coin is pegged to the monthly electricity cost. And we have also introduced a K constant against depreciation, because what you have also in those networks is huge productivity gains in the rigs that actually have an influence on how this on how many coins you can print at a certain cost. So if your cost goes down, then as a miner you have an incentive to print more. But print more in the long run can have deterrent effect because it can increase inflation if everything is at a stationary state. So this K constant will kind of like offset the productivity gains in the industry. Okay. And finally, we have decided recently to anchor the network on Bitcoin, like Namecoin has done it. Why? Because there are several reasons for that. It will increase the opportunity cost for miners because they have to choose when they merge mine with our network. When they anchor with our network, they have to choose between foregoing the Bitcoin Coinbase reward when they mine, or printing JAX coin, which are the transactional coins. That means that if Bitcoin is more profitable to mine than our JAX coin because there is no demand for it, then they will continue to receive the Bitcoin reward, block reward. On the contrary, if JAX coins, they can make more profit mining it, they can switch to print them and forego the Bitcoin block reward, but not the transaction cost, the transaction fees. So this way, it puts a check on inflation. It's also pegging to Bitcoin is also improving on security. And finally, we hope that it, for our transactional network and payment network, it hope that we can have mass adoption. So thank you for your attention.